Well, hello. Welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally even things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today is a Sunday Stuff and Things. And on the Sunday Stuff and Things, we have stuff and things to talk about, including upcoming videos, things that you can look forward to on Stuff and Things YouTube and Stuff and Things Patreon. We're going to talk about what I've been looking forward to for the last week and how sad it actually is. We'll talk about the fact that I have been shooting exclusively film for the last month. I've never done that before, and it's been an interesting experience. We'll get into your questions, comments, and feedback. Where are they? In hashtag askstuffandthings, and then we'll close out the show with our Patreon shoutouts and updates. So, lots to cover. Let's get into it. So, what can you look forward to on Stuff and Things YouTube and Stuff and Things Patreon? Well, this coming week, we will have the review of the leather laptop / camera bag by CRAVAR, C-R-A-V-A-R. It is their Rana 15 leather camera bag in fox color. Really cool, really big, really nice camera bag, and that review will be posting this Wednesday on Stuff and Things YouTube and Monday on Stuff and Things Patreon. The week after that, we have the review of GLP's Bankside. I did the first impressions video on Patreon last week, yes, and I liked it a lot. It's a really interesting blend. I've coined the new term Vaporkia, vapor, so a Virginia Perique mixture with Kentucky and Latakia. So is it still a vapor? In the tin description for Bankside, they mention that it is a vapor with added components, but I think a lot of what I talk about in the review is whether or not you can still call a blend that has Virginia Perique, okay, that sounds like a vapor, but then dark-fired Kentucky and Latakia, is it still a vapor? I don't know. I think it's a whole new thing. I think it's a Vaporkia. You can watch the review and find out for yourself exclusively on Patreon. And then after that, I just recorded a video. Where is it? It has been a month, or a little over a month, since I got my beautiful Leica M4 film camera. This camera is 55 years old. It was made in 1970. I've had it I got it in June, and I have been using it pretty much every day. I have shot 8 rolls with it, 8.5 rolls. I've developed 7 of those and developed and scanned 7 of those rolls. And so I just did a video. This isn't the review yet. I will do a full review on this camera eventually, probably in the next few weeks. But I just basically wanted to give an update on the kinds of images I've been capturing with this camera for the last month. And since I've only been shooting this camera, I haven't been using my little Fuji X106 because I really wanted to get familiar and comfortable with this camera. Just what that experience has been like. Not having a light meter in the camera has been an adjustment period for me. Using a rangefinder system for focusing and framing shots has been an adjustment for me. And yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll go through a lot of images and just show you what I've been able to capture with this beautiful Leica M4 over the last month. Lots more good photo stuff coming on the channel. Lots more about the Leica M4, obviously, but just photography in general. Pipe blends and good stuff exclusive to Patreon, so stay tuned, lots more coming. Okay, very briefly, I'm gonna talk about something stupid. I brush my teeth, I think like most of you do, and for the last, God, how long has it been? Nearly 20 years, I have used a Sonicare electronic toothbrush, or an electric toothbrush. And I got the Sonicare that I had for Christmas from my dad years ago, like nearly 20 years ago. And you know, you use it, they have these heads that you can replace, so you replace the head every once in a while. And it was a great toothbrush, used it forever, but it was getting to the point where it seemed like it was on its last legs. I know this seems insanely boring, but this is giving you a little glimpse into my life here. And so I figured, okay, it's finally time. I'd be using it and it's like, just like barely vibrating. And if you put a new head on, it still doesn't really make any difference. It's just not doing the job that it was supposed to be doing. And so I thought, okay, it's time. I need to replace the Sonicare toothbrush. So I found a deal on Amazon. I ordered a new Sonicare toothbrush and I was excited because it looks so slim and just more advanced. It looks like a much better system. It has more features and everything. And the toothbrush arrived yesterday while I was at work. And all I was thinking about much of the day was how excited I was to try my new toothbrush. That's what I have to look forward to in my life. So I got home, I ripped the packaging open, and I pulled out this beautiful svelte little Sonicare toothbrush with 3 modes. It has clean, white, and gum care. It has an automatic sensor, so if you're pressing too hard, it'll beep and let you know that you're pressing too hard, and then it'll adjust the vibration. So it doesn't want you to really go too hard into your gums. It's a cool, like, advanced little toothbrush. It has a carrying case. And so I was like, oh, should I brush my teeth now? I was like, no, I'll wait. I was excited about using this toothbrush. And then finally, when it came after dinner, it was, I don't know, about 9 o'clock or something. I had my dinner and then was reading for a while and doing some stuff on the computer. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go brush my teeth now. And I did, and it was great. It felt great. And there was a huge difference between this new Sonicare toothbrush and the toothbrush that I had that was very old and bedraggled. And it felt like, you know, when you, maybe if you get a cleaning or something, your teeth feel kind of rough in a weird way. They're not all smooth and shiny, like covered in plaque and tartar. That's how it felt after using this toothbrush for the first time. So yeah, I was excited about using a Sonicare toothbrush. Okay, so as I mentioned, I've been shooting film exclusively for the last month and shooting exclusively with my Leica M4. Oh boy. Okay, so I think I showed you some of the pictures I got from the very first roll of film that I took with this camera, where I stupidly, boneheadedly took the bottom off the camera before actually rewinding the film on the very first roll. That was pure idiocy. But since then, I have taken 7 more rolls. What have I got? I think I have a couple that still need to be developed, but I have developed 8, right? Or no, I've developed 7, and the first one was ruined. So I had 6 that were not ruined. And I'm not going to show you pictures from them now because I cover that in the video that I just recorded that'll be posting in a couple weeks, talking about my first month with the Leica M4. But I just want to talk a little bit about what it's been like adjusting to this camera and then only shooting film. And the big difference between using the Fuji X100VI as my primary camera and then using this as my primary camera. Now I'm going to adjust eventually back to a state where I'm using the Fuji probably 50% of the time and the M4 50% of the time. I can't afford to only shoot film. It's just kind of ridiculous. But when I was mostly using the Fuji, I found that I was taking different kinds of pictures because the Fuji has this little flip out screen in the back. It doesn't articulate all the way out, but you could have this hanging from your neck, have the camera at around, I mean, it would normally be almost like stomach high, but I'm trying to show you. I would have this screen flipped up and I could just look in the screen and frame shots while it's hanging down, and I could get really natural, candid shots that way because people don't see you lifting a camera to your face. A lot of times people don't care, but a lot of times, even if they don't care, they will act differently. So if I see something, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take a picture, someone might see that and they'll like pose, or they'll stop what they're doing, or they'll notice the camera and ask you about it. So the whole point is that I'm trying to capture candid interactions, candid behavior, natural. I don't want people to notice the camera. So now that I have switched to using this exclusively, there is no screen. It's not digital, it's a manual film camera. So I have to bring it up to my face when I'm framing shots. I have noticed that people notice this camera less than they used to notice the Nikon FE2. I think it has to do with the size, the color. This just looks kind of maybe more intimidating, like this is a camera. and this just looks maybe slightly more friendly. I don't know. But people don't seem to care about this camera as much as they did about the Nikon FE2, but they definitely see me using it more than they would have when I'm using my Fuji X100VI. So that's been kind of an adjustment. I've had to be a little more bold about, you know, seeing something and taking a picture. And what I have developed is kind of, I mean, I'm friendly anyway, but now I am actually interacting with people more. So I might take a picture and then they might notice once I've taken the picture, and then I'll talk to them. I'll engage them in conversation, or I'll just say, you know, a quick compliment or something like, "Oh, I really like your hat," or that was a great picture I wanted to capture." And for the most part, it's been good, and I've been able to get more. I've been able to get pictures with the Leica M4 that are more similar to the kinds of pictures I was getting with the Fuji. When I would shoot with the Nikon FE2, it seemed like I had to get more, I would do more landscapes or things that were kind of abstract, or things where it didn't rely on speed and just like a snap. I didn't have to just like throw the camera up at my face really quick, frame it and snap it, focus quickly. With this, I'm able to be a little more quick. I'm able to capture more of those candid documentary style pictures. I have had a couple interactions now that have been rather odd. There was a guy the other day, I was walking with the camera around my neck. There was some sort of street fair going on. I don't even know what it was for exactly, but there were like some vendors and stuff. And there was a younger guy, I don't know, he was probably in his maybe late 20s or something. And he had a backpack on his front, and there was a dog's head sticking out of the backpack. I think the head was connected to a dog's body. It wasn't just a severed head in his backpack, because the dog was alive. And he was talking to these two women, and I walk near, I see the dog, and of course, if I see a dog in a backpack, I'm going to try to take a picture of the dog with the backpack. So I bring my camera up, I'm about to snap a photo, and he does this. He just turns away. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't acknowledge me. He just turns and freezes. So I can't see his dog, his precious dog that can't be photographed. And so I kind of chuckled a little bit because it was kind of an odd reaction. I'm used to people either saying like, don't take my picture, or they like smile, or they don't care, or they don't notice. It's weird just to have somebody acting like, it's like a squirrel where they see you and they freeze, and they think that you can't see them anymore because they're not moving. That's what this guy was doing. And the two women who he was with, they kind of looked at him and then looked at me, and I kind of gave one of them like a look. And we just stood there for a while this guy studiously ignored me with his back to me. I was standing there with my camera kind of smirking at the two women. They were kind of smirking at me. And all the conversation they were having completely froze, and we just stood there for like 30 seconds. And then I just kind of went, okay, and I just started walking away, and the guy stayed there for a while. I glanced back at him. He started turning around, and then, you know, just to be kind of a weirdo, I turned back to him again, and he turned again. It was really funny. I've never had that reaction before when I've been trying to take pictures of people. But I have gotten a lot of good photographs. And if you want to see how my film photography has changed in the last month since I've been using this Leica M4, check out the video that'll be showing up in a couple weeks, my first month with the Leica M4. I've been absolutely loving using this camera. And then very quickly, because all of you keep asking me about this, or enough of you keep asking me about it, the hat. People seem really concerned about the hat. I've had so many comments and messages about the hat, about replacing my old hat, about things I can do for my old hat. Different, people are sending me hats that look nothing like the old hat, not physically sending me, but sending me links to hats and being like, what about this? I'm like, well, that's a flat cap. That's not the same kind of hat that I had. But I mean, I appreciate the concern. I appreciate the really odd interest in this. But just so you know, because people have been asking, yes, I do like this hat. It still isn't as good, I don't think, as my old hat, but it is starting to form to my head more. My bulbous head. I have a big head, a big bulbous head. And this hat it's perching on my dome, and it's looking more at home on my dome. So again, those of you who asked, this is a Walz, W-A-L-Z, Velocity wool flannel hat. It's V-E-L-O with a / like on a web address, city, wool flannel. They also have a merino wool hat in the Velocity or Velocity line that looks a little different than this. This is the wool flannel Walz Velocity black hat. I like it. All right, gang, but now it is time for hashtag #AskStuffandThings. Remember, if you have a question for me and you would like it answered on the Sunday Stuff and Things, you can tweet at SATBradley with the hashtag #AskStuffandThings, but you shouldn't because nobody does. If you are a Patreon supporter, you can write to me via Patreon, go right to the front of the line. You can hit that super thanks button under this video and go right to the front of the line, or you can leave questions, comments, and feedback in the comments section of my YouTube videos. Just like, well, actually not just like, this is from Patreon, Nicholas James via Patreon, reacting to last week's Sunday Stuff and Things, said, I have a question that's broadly related to your recent videos, since it's about photography. I really want to get into photography, but the main thing I want to do is wildlife photography. I have a bad tendency to overshoot things when I get into hobbies and buy something. My printer is running out of ink, so I'm having trouble with this. And buy something way more powerful than I need while just starting out. I can relate to that. Do you have any recommendations on a good full-frame digital camera that would be good enough to practice wildlife photography? I borrowed a relative's older Canon camera with a matching telephoto lens last year. However, the camera didn't have a full-frame sensor and you couldn't crop any of the images at all without the image quality degrading significantly. I had to strategically hide while getting very close to bird feeders to get any semi-decent pictures of Baltimore Orioles. Oh, this is a tough one. You could spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on a full-frame camera and then a lens which will allow you to get the kind of photographs you are trying to get. Or you could spend about $600 on a camera that's probably good enough. I have a friend who does a lot of wildlife photography, and she uses a Nikon Coolpix something. I can't remember what the actual model number is, but it is a digital camera with, I believe, a fixed lens that can zoom to like 2,000 times optical zoom, or 2,000 millimeters. She gets amazing shots with that camera, and it's a camera that I would think like, oh, that's not good enough. That's not an interchangeable lens camera or anything. But it works great for her, and she gets amazing shots. I have a 600 millimeter lens for telephoto lens for wildlife photography, and she gets so much closer. She can get so many amazing shots. So you could go much cheaper and get a camera like that and just see how you feel about wildlife photography. And then if you really, really want to get into it, I would suggest something like, there's the Canon R6 Mark II or whatever. I have the original R6. The R6 Mark II is a nice full frame camera. It is the RF system, and if you do the RF system, you can get the cheaper RF telephoto lenses that, I don't know how much they are now, but you could maybe get a 600 millimeter for $700–800. I'm not totally sure. And that would probably be your cheapest way into full frame telephoto photography. Or look at like the Nikon Coolpix line where you have that crazy zoom lens and the quality looks pretty nice to me. Is it going to be the same as getting like, I don't even know what models they have now, but the R5 that had a over 40 megapixel camera or sensor, I think it was like 45 megapixels or something. But you're going to be spending thousands of dollars on just the body, and then the lenses are going to be thousands of dollars if you go for the L system. Like, it depends on how much you want to spend. Something to think about. Next we have at Jobywan0240. I have a Leica M6 and I love it. I appreciate the built-in light meter, but otherwise I imagine it is very similar to the M4. Yeah, other than the M4 not having 28 millimeter frame lines, it's very similar. And this is just built a little different. After a while, you can nail focus very fast by feel. You kind of just know how to dial focus based on distance, just going by the feel of your fingers on the focusing tab on the lens. And that is something I love about this camera. This little focusing tab right here is so ergonomic. It is so nice to use. And you're right, like when I'm doing zone focusing, I'm usually trying to set the lens at around 7 feet or so. Just doing that, I just know where that is now. Yeah, there it is. It's pretty much there. So I just know, there it is, there's infinity. Here's if I'm trying to get close, and it works great. It is so fast, it is so nice. Next, we have @LesBrady, who says, I like the new hat. To me, it looks more streamlined. It works well with your look. Thank you, Les Brady. I still think I look a little pinheady with it, but yeah, it's working out. I don't know why this hat has been such a thing. @CM Stan says, the hat is dead, long live the hat. Yes. And then @MalabusBC says, LOL 80s. Oh yeah, he was making fun of me for saying that 80 Fahrenheit was hot, or in the 80s was hot. Man, it's 107 heat index down south. Good to see you, Bradley. I'm hoping it'll cool off tonight and I'll have a pipe. Fridays seem like the new Monday, trying to get that last push before the end of the week. Yeah, and every time I talk about temperature, I understand that in other parts of the country or other parts of the world, it is much hotter. But it's what you're used to. @CorbinBourbon1194 says, I always tell myself Fridays are tougher because you're earning your weekend. I've noticed this Friday thing too. So I was talking about the curse of Fridays, where I've been having very bad Fridays at work lately. And then we have some feedback from the first impressions video of GLP's Bankside, exclusive to Patreon. A really interesting blend. Check that out if you are a Patreon supporter. Les Brady says, I had a similar experience with the flavor. Smoky, tangy, sweet, but not Virginia sweet. More of a dark stewed fruit sweet. As barbecue is an apt comparison. By the way, the tin is about 3 years old. I believe there's a date stamped on the bottom. Yes, thank you, Les. I noticed that. And Les is the one who sent me that blend to try. So thanks again for that. And then Chris Portislander says, nice, I like the foodie blends. At what point would you say Vaporkia just became a mixture when the Latakia takes a more prominent role? It's a good question, and that is one that I think I answer in the full review, or at least we discuss that. I don't know if I come up with a definitive answer to that, but it's something that definitely occurred to me while I was having that blend. I think Vaporkia works. I don't think you just have to call it a mixture, because it is still primarily Virginia Perique with these added components, but I don't think you could call this like a vapor blend. I think you have to say Vaporkia. I think those are the rules. Anyway, gang, thanks for all that feedback. Please keep it coming in. It really helps make the show go. All right, but now it is time for the very best part of the show, and that is where we thank our Patreon supporters. Remember, if you would like to support Stuff and Things on Patreon, there is a link in the description box below, and it is much appreciated. It helps pay for the fancy camera that is filming this video, the lights that are shining upon me, blends, and other products for review. It is basically the best way to support the content that you like. You get access to videos early and ad-free on Patreon, and then you also get exclusive Patreon videos having to do with the pipe hobby. So $5 a month, and you will have access also to the archives of the old pipe reviews that I have been posting on Patreon. All the ones that I had to take off YouTube are now being posted on Patreon. So thank you so much for all the support from the people on Patreon. And every week we like to shout out those who support the channels at $25 or more a month. The producers of Stuff and Things. People like Jason Buckner, Arcturus, Ashes of the Phoenix, Jonathon Proctor, The Friendly Piper, The GreatGrol, Glenn, Just Glenn, David Severin, Nicholas James, Kyle Whitmore, Mr. Gibson, and Chris Caughey. And of course, the Maniacs, the crazy people who support the channels at $100 a month, people like Bob Magee. And we'll never forget our dearly departed friend and Hall of Fame member, Peter Straub. Gang, what can you look forward to exclusively on Patreon this week? Well, we will have the ad-free and early premiere of the CRAVAR camera bag. Videos post every Monday. So if there's a YouTube video that posts on Wednesday, it'll post on Monday, early and ad-free on Patreon. But exclusively this week, we have from the archives, GLP's Sixpence. An interesting blend that I didn't love at the time. It has kind of that alcohol topping that I usually don't appreciate on a blend. And I think it was the very first GLP's blend that didn't knock my socks off back in the day. And that review posted 10 years ago. So check that out. Next week, we'll have that Bankside review exclusive to Patreon, and then another video from the archives. All sorts of good stuff coming up on YouTube and on Patreon. Thank you so much for watching. But yeah, I think it's time to go. Until next time, until we meet again, I've been your good friend Bradley. You've been the audience. This has been Stuff and Things on a Sunday Stuff and Things. I'll see you later. Go take some pictures.